Welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to UPLEVEL. I'm Dr. Jenna, and today we're going to talk about momentum and consistency, and why real progress is built through identity changes and self-trust, not through intensity. This is a really important topic. So let's dive in, because as we kind of close out January, what's happening to your momentum? What's happening to your motivation? January, if that's starting to shift, if it's already starting to fade, it doesn't mean it's failing. And let's say you're not there yet. Maybe it happens in a week or two. If we don't change deeper patterns, it will happen. So let's say it's happening for you. It's already started to wane, or life is happening. January isn't failing, it's actually revealing. If we can start to look at the changes that we have as data, most people don't lose momentum because they fell off. They lose momentum because they're like trying to perform consistency rather than actually build it. So this episode is about how real momentum works, especially for women, and how to keep moving forward in a positive way where you're getting progress, you're getting results without burning out, without quitting, without starting over. So first, let's talk about what consistency actually is, because it's not intensity. It is identity. It is self-trust over time. And so it's not about being perfect. It's not about being motivated every day. It's not about doing the most. Consistency is staying in relationship with yourself, right? Staying in alignment and integrity with what your goals are and the direction you're working towards. So it's returning instead of restarting. Keeping promises that are small enough that your nervous system feels safe. This is why so many quote unquote good Januaries collapse in February, or maybe some people make it through February and then it collapses by March. I've told you about the studies and being a fitness instructor for years and seeing people in the gym. It's packed in January, then by February, and they've got stats on the percentages. It's fewer, and by March it's not. So the reason that happens is because those good months, those good weeks were built on adrenaline, not necessarily trust, not necessarily true identity changes. So your motivation will fade, and that is normal. So many people are either waiting for motivation, or they have it and it fades. And people think that's the special sauce. Motivation will always fade. Once we understand that, it's a game changer. Motivation will always go up and down, not because you're weak, not because you fail or you're not strong, but novelty wears off, dopamine normalizes, real life returns. And so when motivation disappears, most people assume something has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. You have simply entered the consistency phase. And this is where we have that opportunity. This is that opportunity gap to take momentum and turn it into something real and deeper and part of your identity. All right. This is where results are actually built. And this is where most people quit. And that's why you don't get results, because you're starting and stopping and starting and stopping. The truth is, and most people are not taught this, or they at least don't deeply understand it, progress creates results. It's not about the results per se, because results don't actually create progress. So you can get results and then you go back. Progress creates results. So results are often delayed. There's a germination period for everything. Even, those thought seeds, when we're doing goal-oriented work, we don't always know what that germination period is. You don't know how long it's going to take to get your body to where you want it, get your energy to where you want it. But progress is actually immediate. And so many people are so results focused, the scale, the timeline, the external validation, that they're not even aware of the progress. And then they quit, or they've tripped themselves up into these expectations that backfire. So when you tie your confidence or even your commitment to the outcomes, the scale, everything I just said, the scale, the timeline, the external validation, you are actually destabilizing your momentum. When you anchor into progress, what does that look like? Showing up. That's progress. Making aligned choices, making choices that are in integrity, in alignment with how you want to live and how you ultimately want to feel, and staying in self-trust. Anyone who's achieved anything amazing, they're anchoring to that progression, to progress, to consistency building over time. Then momentum becomes sustainable, but we're not waiting for it. And we're not feeling like we've fallen off when it goes away. This is truly the difference between transformation and temporary change. Sometimes people will say to me, if we're looking at investigating, working on a journey, a program together, and they say, well, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? I'll want to quit. What are you quitting on? You're going to quit on moving your body regularly? You're going to quit on eating healthy? You're going to quit on moving towards the goals that you want to achieve? And this is where we get that myth of like starting over. You quit, then you start over. Look for something new. Quit, start over. Stop throwing spaghetti at the wall. Stop quitting. Stop starting and stopping. How do you want to live? What do you really want? And decide you are committed to it. Because let's be real, commitment is only truly tested, is only truly commitment when it's hard to do. When it's easy to do, then we haven't built anything, right? When life is easy, it's easy to be persistent. Persistence is required when it's hard. So let's retire this phrase, I'm starting over. All right. You don't need to start over because you missed a workout or even a week of workouts. You don't need to start over because you ate off plan. You don't start over because you had a stressful week or life got messy. Starting over implies you failed. You've fallen off and then boof, momentum to get all the way back on. No, we return. When it's truly an identity, when it becomes who we are, we return. Consistency isn't linear. Over the holiday break, I was feeling depleted. I really was. And every day I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get back into my workout today. And I didn't move my body for 3 weeks. And I did check in with myself. And my higher guidance was saying, you need to rest, chill, just be with your family. For me, that's a really long time to go without working out, 3 weeks. But I didn't start over. Okay, well, January, whatever, I'll start over. No, I just returned because it's who I am. It's a part of my identity. I returned. When I broke my arm a few years ago, I ended up deciding to really nourish my body and enjoy life I just made some shifts. I didn't start over after that. I returned. So the people who succeed are not the ones who never fall off. Everybody falls off. Everybody diverges. They're the ones who come back without punishment, without drama. They just come back. And this is why dieting doesn't work. It's on or off. Okay, on Monday, I'm going to start over. I'm going to do this diet. I'm going to do this thing. Let's break these old patterns so this is actually different for you. Identity-based consistency actually works. All right? Look at any successful person. It becomes an identity. They're not perfect. They get injuries. They take time off. They have failures. But that commitment to what they want and how they want to live is strong, and it becomes part of who they are. So identity-based consistency sounds like this is who I am, even when I'm imperfect. I always tell people it's not about perfection. It's about progress. When people work with us, I expect them to have those down times. In fact, great, because learn to navigate that with the right mentorship, with the right support, so you can build those identity-based habits. It is not, I do this when it's easy. I do this when life is calm. Again, when does that ever happen? And that won't last, because then as soon as quote unquote life happens, then you're off again. No, it is, I am someone who comes back. I don't abandon myself when it's inconvenient, and I adjust without quitting. When I I'm just giving you some ideas of what identity-based consistency looks like. I didn't, in those 3 weeks of not moving my body, say, well, I'm not an exerciser now. Oh, I'm so lame. I didn't exercise. And so I just got back to who I am. Identity-based behavior. I didn't abandon myself. I did honor that my body needed to rest. There's different reasons why you might veer off your habits, but it's not about quitting and restarting. I always come back and I trust myself. A lot of this is about self-trust, building that integrity and that alignment with yourself, right? So when you look at yourself as someone who comes back and you're not worried, when you're off on a meal for a day or 2 days or a week, or you're off on your exercise, you're not worried about quitting because you trust yourself. You trust yourself. This is self-trust in motion. But what I will say is, be careful of long periods where you're getting off track, because that chips away at our self-esteem. That chips away at that identity. Those 3 weeks I took off, that was okay for me because A, exercise is deeply a part of my identity. B, my body was really telling me to rest. It was telling me to rest longer than I expected, but we also have to honor where we're at. But when momentum goes in both directions. And if you let yourself veer off track for too long, it starts to feel more challenging to get back on track. So this is not like an invitation to be like, oh, hey, I can just be on and off. I'm not talking about these wild swings in your consistency. That's not integrity. That's not going to feel in alignment. We want to build the habits of self-trust when it's inconvenient. When life gets messy, let's talk about when life gets messy, because it will. It will. And let's be honest, January doesn't stay quiet. Work starts to ramp up. Kids get sick. Travel happens. Energy fluctuates. Your mood may go up and down. So the question is not ever, how do I stay perfect? Never should that be the question. I was getting a massage from somebody years ago. I don't know if she listens to this podcast, but she'll probably remember this. And she said, I want this to be perfect for you. How can I make this perfect? And I was so stumped. I was like, well, I don't really believe in perfection. So I don't know. I'd like it to be relaxing and feel good. And so, and it really gave her pause. She was like, oh, that's interesting. So the real question in this case is, how do I stay connected to myself when things are imperfect? Right? When life is messy, when life is hard, when trauma and grief happen, how do I stay connected to myself? This is the skill that creates lifelong momentum. So here's the thing. When we look at success or failure, one of the things that's really important to realize is these are habits. Success is a habit. Failure is a habit. So if you stay in that habit of quitting, if you stay in that habit of just, okay, life got hard, I'm just going to drop all the things, you're further engraving that habit. Success is a habit. It's a mindset habit. It's a consistency in the way that we are talking about it. Okay. So I want to give you a simple, grounded framework that is practical and hopefully feels gentle. All right. So pick one non-negotiable. All right. Number one. All right. This is the framework. This is the groundwork that we're going to do for this episode. Pick one non-negotiable. Something so small that it survives chaos. It survives life being messy. So it's not the perfect workout plan. It's not the ideal routine. It could be something like daily protein, a 10-minute walk, going to bed when you're tired. Some of us don't go to bed when we're tired. And sometimes we miss that window, right? We're tired and then suddenly we're scrolling, doom scrolling, pushing through something. And then we're in that like night owl mode and then we can't fall asleep. So it could be something as simple as going to bed when you're tired, or maybe one intentional pause per day where you check in. Those of you that have listened to my mindset, been in mindset classes with me, or I probably have talked about it on this podcast. Like I will set alarms on my phone, and I like more than one intentional pause per day. I like to check in with myself several times throughout the day. How am I thinking? Am I in alignment? Where is my mind? Am I focused towards my expansion and my growth? But again, I want you to choose something depending on where you are on the continuum of consistency and momentum that is small enough that you're going to do it. All right. It is going to survive life happening, quote unquote. People say life happened, right? It's going to survive chaos. So choose what that looks like. I know some people are tired of like the daily protein focus, but that makes a huge difference in our energy. Building your plate around protein, huge difference in energy. And 10-minute walk, going to bed when tired, one intentional pause per day. I just kind of went on a little thought trip of our new food pyramid. I'm like, maybe I should talk about that in an episode. There's a lot of inconsistencies in it, and I don't want you to put a lot of weight in it. Because there's a lot of inconsistencies and it is definitely not perfect. The My Plate that actually took over for the food pyramid was better, but somehow we've disregarded that existed. But another topic, and y'all can let me know if you want me to talk about that, because if you had to ask me, if I had to give a summation, I'm actually not a fan. And I don't think it has done justice. Some parts are great. Getting out processed foods and that. But anyway, I digress. So build your protein around healthy, lean proteins. Pick one of these or whatever. Pick something on your own. This is going to build identity, not exhaustion. If you try to have the perfect workout plan and do all the things, I don't want this to be a path for burnout or self-judgment or, I planned this huge thing and I didn't do it and I failed again. Here's more confirmation that I failed. We have to build the habit of success. And so we want to build the identity, not exhaust you, not get you burnt out. So start with one small non-negotiable. Okay. Number 2, one flexible habit. This is where you allow life to happen. This is where you allow life to flex. So some days it's going to be that full workout. Some days it's going to be stretching or mobility or rest. I have a set number of days that I lift and days that I do cardio, rebounding, etc. I like to weave in like some yoga and Pilates, and then my rest day is usually one day a week. But again, for me, like there's other habits that I'm taking this framework for. But the reason I bring that up is because there are days when, let's say maybe it was going to be a cardio day and I am not feeling it, or something has come up, I have an extra appointment, suddenly my time looks different. And so I allow myself to be flexible. Maybe I just do a little mobility. Maybe I just do a little stretching. Maybe I hop on my rebounder for 10 minutes instead of the 45 minutes or the hour I'd planned or the 30 minutes. This is where you allow a flexible habit. So you can have more on the days, the full workout, the bigger plan, the full meal the way you want it. And then you have that smaller version. There's some flexibility. Flexibility protects your consistency. Because again, it's not that all or nothing, it's all or something. So I want you to choose one flexible habit. What does that look like for you that allows you that flexibility where you're staying consistent, but it's flexible in what that looks like? That's true consistency. Consistency is not showing up hard all the time, doing all the things. It's actually just showing up and being flexible. Okay. Number 3 of our framework, one check-in rhythm. Okay. Not tracking, not judging, just asking, am I still aligned with who I'm becoming? Am I making the choices that are in alignment, in integrity with who I'm becoming? This keeps you conscious, but not controlling. So that check-in will look different for different people depending on where you are. If you tend towards self-judgment, if you tend towards like being controlling, maybe that check-in is weekly. Maybe it's daily. You decide what is your check-in rhythm, where you're just checking in. Am I still in alignment? Sometimes like when people are symptom tracking, they can get obsessed. That expression, can't see the forest for the trees. They can start to be obsessed with all those little details. And it's like, okay, you know what? Let's scale out and take a 10,000 foot view. Maybe just at the end of the week, look back on your week and go, was I moving towards success? Was I moving towards who I want to be? Did I make more healthy choices than not? Versus that daily management. You'll have to figure out for you what's most beneficial for you. I'm big mindset wise and those bigger goals on those daily check-ins. But again, what I just said is some of you weekly is going to be more appropriate. Okay. So in closing, I want to stress, if you remember one thing from this episode, let it be this. Momentum is not created by doing more. It's not about doing more. That fizzes out. Momentum is created by staying in self-trust when motivation fades. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Momentum is not about doing more, pushing harder, being in the grind. It is about creating an identity. It's about self-trust when motivation fades. Motivation is fading, but you trust yourself, you're going to keep doing the things. You don't need to push harder. You need to stay connected longer, connected to where you're going, what you want, what your commitment is. Commitment, persistence, consistency, they are all tied in to meaning something when it's hard, right? There's no commitment when it's easy. There's no persistence when it's easy. It's, persistence and consistency, because they're kind of similar, is not about being perfect. Again, it's about staying connected, being loyal to yourself, especially when life gets messy. Self-trust and identity. Self-trust and identity. So you're not pushing harder. You're remembering and staying connected to how you want to feel, who you want to be, what is moving you in the direction of who you want to be, the life you want to live, the things you want to be consistent with, the things you want to carry. Momentum will fade, motivation will fade. Consistency is a habit that will lead to success. Progress wins over perfection, and that leads to results. But you don't want to have results and then go back, like all the people that gain and lose weight over and over. They have to make that identity change. When you make that identity change, then it can last and it becomes part of who you are. That kind of momentum, my friends, that kind of momentum is unstoppable. So I hope you found this really helpful and inspiring and relieving. I said that word the other day too. I'm not sure if it's a word, relieving. Relief. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but stop waiting for that magic fairy dust. I combined magic and fairy. Stop waiting for the magic fairy dust of momentum and motivation. It's a deeper identity piece, and in it, you find you, and you find the best version of you. And so thank you. Thank you so much for joining me as we close out January. And we got some good stuff coming up, so look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Take care. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey, one that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.